I've said before, the theme of this year will be Australians fighting back against the people trying to divide us. And tonight, more good news, because that change really does seem to be on. And the news is not just what I showed you last night. The crowds at yesterday's Invasion Day ceremonies or protests, they were down in Melbourne, way down. In fact, it's my duty now to do about the last thing you might expect, maybe that some of you even want. I must praise the Prime Minister, praise Anthony Albanese. Now, I thank this man who tried to divide us by race with a voice, did divide us by pandering to the Muslim vote, by attacking Israel. I must thank the man who flies 3 flags and let in record numbers of immigrants, who even gave tourist visas to 3,000 people from terrorist-run Gaza. I now thank Albanese because I think he finally gets it. Or maybe he just reads the polls and sees Australians are suddenly very, very worried that we're being torn apart. Albanese's speech yesterday at the national flag-raising ceremony to immigrants about to get their citizenship certificates stressed like never before how they should not just love this country but drop any nasty cultural baggage.
A commitment that every citizen makes to our nation and a promise our people make to each other to leave behind the burden of old prejudices and hatreds.
And in an opinion piece for the same day, Albanese went even further, saying that migrants must, and note this, must pledge loyalty to our values. I think that's new, telling migrants to be loyal to our values. It cuts right across Labor's disastrous multicultural project that's had politicians of the left seem to praise every culture but our own genocidal, nasty, racist, land-ruining supposed culture. Now, I'll tell you how different this message was. I'll contrast what Albanese said with another speech yesterday. It was by Albanese's housing minister, Claire O'Neill. She used to oversee immigration until she was moved sideways for being terrible. Now, like a militant multiculturalist, she last weekend posted on her Facebook page, Happy Indian Republic Day to Indian Australians. Yesterday was also India's National Day. But she did not post a Happy Australia Day for the National Day of her own country. But she did then post her own speech to new Australians getting their citizenship on Australia Day, and it was a very different message to Albanese's. It was still that same multicultural cringe, that submissive, ingratiating praising of every culture but our own, sort of thing that's helped to turn us into a nation of tribes. Now, unlike Albanese, she did not tell migrants they owed their loyalty now to Australian values. Apparently, we instead owe migrants praise for their values. Listen for yourself.
That Australia is a great multicultural country because you share your culture with us. Becoming part of our Australian family doesn't mean leaving behind where you came from. It doesn't mean leaving behind your traditions, your history, and the story of your family, because those things are actually what makes our country great.
Some message, Australia's great because of the newcomers, not because of those who actually built it. And migrants, keep your culture, don't join ours. Albanese's changed his tune, but how long before his ministers get the score? And yet I thank him. I mean, whether he means all this in his heart or is just blowing with the wind, I don't really care. The critical thing is that our Prime Minister now realises Australia is in danger, threatened by people with contempt for its values. And this year could finally be when we start to save it.